Comrades, let us remain standing for our national aim and party anthem. I see that the excitement of the youth league is very high, and we are ready to welcome our Vice President in the Kharas region. But before I continue, I would like to, can we kindly have order there at the entrance? Before I continue, I would like to, we cannot continue without the blessings of our Almighty God. And with that, I would like to call on our district info and mob for Keetmanshoop urban, or otherwise we are not welcome here. And indeed, Comrade Nembia, kindly open the house to us with a prayer.
Viva! Viva SWAPO! Viva! Viva SWAPO! Viva! Viva Netumbo! Viva! Viva Netumbo! Viva! Viva Panelist! Viva! Without wasting time, I know we're excited, and that's what we do in Kharas region. Meme Netumbo, you can see how you are welcome in this today event. Without wasting time, standing here is Elizabeth Nembia. I'm the info and mob for Keetmanshoop Urban Youth League. I'm going to read a short verse which says, "Dear God, we pray for wise guidance for our nation. We know that without it, we will fall. Please grant us the wisdom to speak out and listen to the counsel of many counselors, so that we may achieve victory. For sure, indeed, we're going to achieve victory this year. For sure, SWAPO gonna make it. Meme Netumbo gonna lead us until ever." Okay, thank you so much. May we pray. Father God, we stand here before you to ask so that you can guide us. Without you, we can't do it. We call upon to bless our leaders, bless our party, bless Meme Netumbo for us, bless Namibia, bless everybody. May all the topic and all arrangements for tonight go accordingly. We pray this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you so much. Amen.
I believe I'm safe now. I'm touched by the word of God. Comrades, standing in front of you is Comrade Jeremiah Nyiwanwa, member of the National Executive Committee for the SWAPO Party Youth League, Secretary for Labor and Justice, and also member of the Central Committee. I am the info and mob for Kharas region, and I will be your MC for tonight.
Viva Comrade Jeremiah, viva!
Viva! Indeed, I am excited that we have this opportunity to directly engage with our VP. If you have any doubts, if you have any questions on anything, now is the time. And one of the good things is our VP, she's always with her team of experts, members of parliament that are here. So indeed, we are on the safe side, and this is our night. And also to our national leaders, I would just like to apologize in advance because we are young and the excitement, adrenaline might rise a bit. So bear with us as we also pose our questions as well. Indeed, our theme for tonight is unpacking the potential of uplifting living standards and job creation through mining, agriculture, and the importance of education in Namibia. They are very interlinked, and I'm not going to go into it now because the panel is there to do it. I will also just, colleagues at the back, comrades, yeah, I would like to call on my boss, yes, it's my boss, to do the welcoming for us in this venue for tonight. Comrade Galmari Janje, our regional secretary for the SWAPO Party Youth League in the Kharas region. Comrade, they say dynamite comes in. Dynamite comes in.
My name is Keetmanshoop, the Regional Secretary for SWAPO Party Youth League Kharas region. My leader here, the National Executive Committee member, I have to quickly counter something he said. He called me his boss. I'm not his boss. I'm a leader. I'm not a boss. Thank you so much, everyone. Also, just allow me to give an apology for the delay, but thank you for your patience and just thank you for being present and being here. Honorable Presidential Candidate, distinguished guests, youth leaders, all youth present, all guests present, you are welcome. On behalf of the SWAPO Party Youth League, it is my utmost honor and privilege to welcome you all to the significant gathering in the mighty Kharas region. Tonight, we are not just in conversation, we are building the future of our great nation. We extend a special welcome to our esteemed presidential candidate, whose leadership and vision continue to inspire the young people of Namibia. We are sincerely grateful for your presence, and we hope the discussions we engage in tonight will be meaningful and transformative for the future of Namibia. The topics before us are of immense importance. The role of education in nation building, where we seek to understand how education system can uplift our youth and equip us to be the driving force behind our country's development. Opportunities in mines and energy, where we hope to explore how the wealth of our nation's natural resources can be used to create sustainable opportunities for young Namibians. Agriculture as a potential job creation and state food security, recognizing that a prosperous Namibia is one that can feed its people and provide stable livelihoods for all. Entrepreneurship is a key to unlocking the creative and innovative potential of our youth, ensuring we are not just job seekers, but job creators. We hope these conversations will not only address the concerns and aspirations of the youth of Kharas, but also pave the way for tangible actions that meet our needs, empowering us to contribute to the end. Allow me to issue a position paper to our presidential candidate, and also kindly allow me to just give you a short summary of what this is about. So on behalf of the Kharas Youth League, we wish the critical issues affecting the youth and communities of Kharas, known as the Sedekant. Despite our role, we are plagued by persistent poverty, high unemployment, and a lack of access to funding. The dysfunctionality of our youth league, largely due to transport challenges, limits our ability to mobilize and advocate for change. Furthermore, access for many young people due to financial constraints. The source of drugs and alcohol abuse is worsening, eroding the fabric of our society. Moreover, the untapped potential of major infrastructure projects such as the Netumbo Dam, which could provide opportunities for economic revival, it remains idle. Equitable access to tenders and government contracts is another area where we are being left behind. Comrades, allow me to give you a background of the causes of the plight of the Southerners, us here in the Kharas region. Number one, poverty and the unemployment rate. Number two, the lack of access to funding. Number three, non-functionable of the youth league. Number four, unaffordable education. Number five, substance abuse. Number six, idle development projects. And last, but certainly not least, limited access to tenders. My Honorable, this is for you, and I will kindly, I will leave this with you with that few words said. I know I didn't say much, right? So thank you so much. Welcome to Kharas, and welcome everyone. Have a meaningful engagement with us here today. And let's do it. We can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Indeed, I've already alluded to this, that we are ready. I think we are ready for our VP. And I will quickly just want to apologize that the venue is full. We have over 300 people in this venue currently, and if anybody else, there is a second hall that has been prepared, or which has been prepared with a screen where everybody can follow. Yeah, for that we apologize. Yeah, indeed. We are also here, as much as we are engaging and we are asking our questions, we are also learning from our elders, from our leaders. I was also just told now that it's my leader and not my boss. So yeah, indeed, as young people, we must also really learn from some of the answers and the engagements that we are going to encounter this evening. If you follow on our program, you will see that it's divided into 3 slots, where we are currently busy with the first one, which is about to end, and then the one where we are going to give it over to our panelists so that we can then dive into those critical issues and topics. And then the final one is where our Vice President, Comrade Dr. Netumbo, will then give her reflections on the conversations and all the engagement, and then afterwards we can then also engage with her with questions. I will then hand over the session to our moderator, who is then Comrade Anneliek Damans, who is also a regional executive member, and she is all the way from Namimus. If you want fish, green hydrogen. Here. Right, over to you, Comrade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade. Thank you, Comrade, for introducing me already, but I will still reflect on what he said. I am Anneliek Damans, the District Secretary of Lutritz District, and also a REC member. And they say if you want fish, you need to talk to me, right? But Lutritz people always say fish are being bought. Okay, therefore, I would like to thank everyone for coming. We're quite packed. And thank you to our leader, Ms. Valmarie. She actually said quite a lot that I also wanted to say, but since she already unpacked a little bit, so I'll just continue on where she left off. And I want to also I want our panelists that is very vibrant, and we have a vast number of panelists here. I have been speaking to them and interacting with them a little, and I would urge our youth to please listen, take home what you can, try to interact, and then, as they say in Afrikaans, I need to say something in Afrikaans.
Die brood word gebreek vanaand. So vat dit wat jy kan saamvat. Because I'm telling you, these people have knowledge for days. And if you really don't take some bread home and work on it, then I don't know, you lost out on a lot. So that said, I would give it over to our panelists for them to please introduce themselves. First of all, we have our own teacher, but she'll speak a little bit about herself. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, comrades. How are you doing? Yes, my name is Frida Roda. I am a high school teacher at PK de Valley Secondary School. I'm also a secretariat for the Kharas Region Women Council, the District Executive Committee, and also the Regional Executive Committee. Thank you.
Good evening, comrades. My name is Anthony Bo. I'm from Kharas. I'm in aquaponics agriculture.
Woza Kharas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dino. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Oh, you didn't hear me. My name is Dino. It's a pleasure to be here.
Woza Kharas.
Pleasant evening, comrades. Pleasant evening, fellow youth. Future youth. Speaking with you here is Comrade Franz Kalenga. I'm in the energy space. Maybe just to unpack a bit, I have a background of green hydrogen. I'm a former technical advisor to Honorable Tom Alwendo on green hydrogen and sustainable energy. I'm the acting executive of sales, marketing and business development for NAMCO, so oil and gas. And having been able to be in the Ministry of Mines and Energy, I can give a bit of context into the mining space. So it's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Are we at a youth conversation or are we at a youth conversation? Rosa Kharas Youth, Rosa! Can we take it up there? We need a song, please. We need something to loosen ourselves up. We need some energy in this house. And I'll come up, even our elders, we have this new style in the youth. We're gonna do it this way. We move forward and backward, but we are moving forward. Can we loosen up a bit, please? Our teacher, Ms. Mula. She's gonna unpack a little bit of education, why it is important for our youth to stay in schools, and why education is important to our Kharas regional child. So we're not gonna take any more time. She's going to give us insights about a lot of our Kharas regional child and school and the challenges that our Kharas and child face in our education. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity again. Usually teachers, when you start a lesson, we have something that we call an introduction, an icebreaker. And I wanted to pose a question now to our youth. Is it possible for you to just enter any establishment, any organization, and take up a seat in an office, just like that? Is it? Definitely not, okay? So in my role tonight, I was tasked to talk about the role education has in driving social progress and development, right? And most of it I'm also going to refer to my personal experiences as well, because I'm also one of those kids, the youth that are coming from a very poor background. So I'm so much relatable. I'm relatable to many of us sitting in here. Okay? Yes? Yes. All right. Number one, education plays a role in economic development and employment opportunities. Skill development, for you to acquire a skill. Like I said, you can't just enter any establishment and take up an office. So if you are skilled in a specific field, then you are given an equal opportunity to apply for that particular field as well. Like I said, many of us, if you are applying for a teaching post, I'm an English teacher. You can't be a biology teacher and come and apply for an English post, all right? And then the other one is now entrepreneurship training. And this one I'm not going to base on my personal experience. I'm a qualified teacher, but I'm also skilled in the beauty industry. I went to an education school. So while I'm a teacher, I also have a side hustle where I do beauty stuff. And meaning that what am I doing? I'm creating a job opportunity for myself. That is now one role that education has in development. Okay. Number two, it reduces poverty. I grew up in, let me say, an informal settlement where we had to rake inside the house. We did not have, a stoop. We had to rake for us to keep that place neat. And I grew up with a lot of friends facing the same challenge as me. Now we all knew that the only way that we can come out of that situation was through what? Through education. That one was plain. And for those people that did not take their education seriously, they're still in the same place. I was one of the first people in our location to build my mother a house around shacks. And I have friends that are the same age as me that went into that repetitive cycle of not just because they didn't take their education seriously. So the only way that, my fellow youth, the only way that you can get out of poverty is through education and taking your school very seriously. Yes. Another role, very simple, but it brings awareness to health and social well-being. A simple thing like sanitation. If you are not well educated, you won't understand what the impact of littering can cause to the environment. But the moment you are educated, you know that you can't just throw a plastic bottle anywhere. And then also through education, nutrition, those issues, we are taught about teenage pregnancy, issues that we face on a daily basis in the community. That is now the role of education. If you are not educated, you will not know that if you are pregnant, you must go to the clinic to get regular checkups. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? But that's now education. A simple thing, but it is influenced by what? It's influenced by what? By education. All right. I'm sorry, I'm a teacher. I like to emphasize. Reduces inequality. Another role, education reduces most of the households have a girl child. A girl child only, or girl children in the household. If they are not educated, what does it mean? We go back to that cycle, poverty. Okay? And then also to reduce that gender disparity in organizations. For the first time, we have a female presidential candidate. That is us getting rid of that gender disparity. Through what? Education. Yes. And then my last one, I'm not going to mumble on a lot because I also want to get to the issues. It plays a role in political participation. Right now, we have 3 male panelists and 1 female panelist. But if I was not educated, I would not sit here. Sorry? If I was not educated, I would not be part of this panel. It teaches you critical thinking skills, how to reason, and not just about your opinion. You have to be objective. Okay? Yes. Now, there was a request from our regional director of education, Ms. Maherman, to talk about the high school dropouts that is high in Kharas region. And it was very imperative for her that I mentioned that it is not that we have a high school dropout here. It is because we have 46 schools in Kharas region in comparison to other regions. So obviously, if you are to make a percentage, we'll still come out in that rate as if we are having a high dropout. And then another one that she wanted me to clarify was that sometimes the kids don't drop out. Family, or let me say parents are taking out their kids from the region, they are moving to other regions. They don't inform the schools that for the child to be transferred on the system. So at the end of the year, that particular learner is now also classified as a dropout. And then we have girls, teenage pregnancies now, they fall pregnant in high school. So that particular girl sometimes does not come back to school the same year, only the following academic year. And then now, because she did not inform the school, she's now also considered as a dropout. So it is not that we have really a high percentage of dropouts. There are particular factors that influence it. On the crime rate, the kids that are now dropping out of school and causing now to the high crime rate in Kharas region, we have an issue here, not just a regional issue, our Honorable VP. Resource schools. We have a lack of resource schools nationally. As a teacher, I am given maybe a guidance counseling class at varsity. We are not trained to teach learners that have learning difficulties. The child is not dumb. I want to make it very clear. It is just a cognitive issue where they are not able to comprehend content. Now you are having 40 plus learners in a classroom, and you have 2 learners in the corner struggling. You are pressured as a teacher to finish your syllabus, your curriculum. You have to finish your continuous assessment, and now you have that particular learner that needs, now the guidance. But you can't focus on that child because you are also under pressure. Those kids usually, if they are writing, they'll write for you an essay. They create their own language that you don't understand. They will write a whole essay of 200 words, basically, of nothing, a made-up language. But if we had a resource, it sounds funny, but it's a very serious issue when you as a parent are the one that has their child in the house. And now the parent, because the child is coming back home with a progress report that has 9 ungradeds, especially for the junior secondary phase. Their child is labeled as stupid in the household from their own parent. Their child is beat upon. Their child is bullied at school. What more can their child take? A 17-year-old in a classroom with 13-year-olds. As a human being, you will not feel comfortable. That's why they tend to drop out of school. But on the bright side, this year, at least Kharas region introduced a special program so the learners go up to claim O. And unfortunately with that school, if a parent does not have medical aid to get an assessment for the child from a specialized psychologist, their child will never make it to that school. And so many of our parents here in Kharas are really coming from poor backgrounds. So we are pleading for at least every region to get a resource school and a hostel. Because if we at least have, since Keetmanshoop is now the central point for Kharas region, if we are, okay, I'm almost done, sorry. So if we are able to get now a resource school and a hostel, then we can accommodate all these learners. Then for them to go through this shame, being degraded upon in the normal school system, they can come from from the resource center to NIMT. Thank you very much.
That was quite informative. It still boils down to no one is we can still make space for all our kids to be educated. So we need to take charge and bring back our technical schools and the technical system in our syllabus. I think that's what Ms. Rueda is boiling down and she's unpacking for us. Nevertheless, we have our next speaker. Everybody knows that Kharas region is a rich region, right? And everybody's been speaking about the oil and gas. I think Mr. Oil and Gas introduced himself, but since we have a lot of questions and we want to know what opportunities is there for the Kharas region child in the oil and gas system and in the oil and gas that is coming. So I think everybody in the youth want to know the opportunities that is coming along with the oil and gas, how people can get themselves ready and educate themselves in short courses that is available. So we are going to ask Mr. Franz, Comrade Franz, to unpack a bit about oil and gas that is keeping our Kharas region shakeable. Because it's the oil and gas all over the place. When we put the TV in, it's oil and gas. So I think he's very much informed and he needs to also be informed. Thank you.
Once again, good evening. Hope I'm very much audible. Modern, thank you. I need to say a disclaimer. In as much as I introduced myself in terms of my employment, but today I'm here in my capacity as a member of the SWAPO Youth League think tank. And nation building is a collective effort. And I think before I dive into the opportunities that are presented by our mines and energy sector, it's very much important to highlight that we remember during the time of COVID, where we just used to hear COVID from far, and it was not affecting us because it's other people. Then later on, it started coming into our homes, and these people started becoming people with familiar faces and names that we know. Where am I going with this? Even when it comes to unemployment, many times you think it's just far, but unemployment, it's a real issue with people's names attached to it. So when we talk about opportunities, we are not just talking them in terms of sugarcoating or it's a song, but we need to be deliberate in our actions on how we address that. And that is what I'm hoping to be able to do today in the smallest time frame that I have, and also to be able to allow space and time for a lot of questions. I've told myself today that I need to be very practical. It's not a serious talk, although it's serious, but it's a Friday and it's youth. So let us, let's get started. So, in terms of green hydrogen, let me start with what is called green hydrogen. My sister here emphasized the importance of education. My mic is dead, but I'm sure I can still project. Yes, emphasize the importance of education. And for me, education is just that curiosity for you to find out what this thing is for your own, not as you are being led, for your own. So, we are talking about industrialization. And the truth of matter is, as a country, we will never be able to industrialize if the cost of electricity is high. So the cost of electricity is the beginning of things. Whether you want to rent your shop that you want to do nails as a nail technician or something, if the consumption of that place is high, you are going to spend a lot of money on electricity and you won't get anything out of it. So the SWAPO manifesto and the agendas of government, they are trying to look what are possible ways are we going to reduce the cost of electricity. Our electricity comes from hydropower. Now, hydro is somewhere there in Ruakana. Much of it, small part of it, it comes from renewable and conventional coal, so forth. But when we talk about global warming, and I don't want to bore you with the high level, when we deal with global warming issues, the result of that is the dam in Ruakana not being full. If the dam in Ruakana is not full, it means your generation of electricity is going to be low. If it's going to be low, you will be forced to go import more electricity that makes electricity expensive. If global warming is hit, we can experience it already. Through drought, animals are dying. Those are consequences of global warming. Now we are saying with the concept of hydrogen, how can we come up with opportunities to be able to generate electricity and make it cheaper? So that is the first understanding. The second understanding is this. What causes that global warming is the high level of carbon. If we go to school, we understand what. I want to give the basic first understanding. Now, what is that carbon causing? Meaning, when we are producing minerals, for example, there is carbon that we are doing, and we are contributing to that global warming. So this hydrogen is going to help us in reducing that level of carbon in whatever industries that we have, including the oil and gas. I'm not going to go into details how that process works, but what opportunities are there in the terms of green hydrogen? That's what I want to start unpacking, in the sense that, first, what is the plan that is currently having? Maybe while I'm trying to open the first of the opportunities, and is tailored to education, it's scholarships. We have heard about poverty. When you are poor, you can basically not do anything for yourself. But I want to tell you that poverty is also a momental situation. It's not a permanent situation. So, what scholarships? In the past, there have been scholarships that have been issued with the green hydrogen program. It's about 2 cohorts. And there are statistics of how many scholarships or people that have benefited from that. And Kharas happened to be one of the beneficiaries. But along the way, it was realized that this project that is taking place in Kharas and the interest of people that have applied for this scholarship, it does not match. So government took a decision. If I'm speaking something wrong, the governor is here to correct me. So there's a tailored program where the Office of the Green Hydrogen have allocated 20 million to the Kharas region for them to be able to identify what kind of scholarships. So the governor's office is coordinating with government to that effect. Right, Governor? Yes. So those are opportunities to make sure that in as much as we are dealing with the nation at large, there is Kharas and that needs to take center stage because the projects are there. On top of that, there is a study now that has been conducted. It's in line with the social economic zone. What does this study say? This study is mapping out the value chain of what are the opportunities that are going to be there in the green industrialization. So they have, for example, identified, there will be wind, maybe manufacturing or assembly, solar, manufacturing or assembly, and so it goes on. Now, what is the next step after they've identified this value chain? They are going to go to the next step where there will be a roadshow. And this is happening together also with government, because we have a stake in government in the highway, where we are going to assemble SMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises, all the people who will be called to say, what kind of business do you have? Oh, you are a constructor. These are the value chains we identified. Where do you think you fit? What are the gaps that are there? How can we upscale you to that? So that second part is called capacity and capability profiling and forecasting. So we'll be able to know in Kharas, we have so people that are doing construction, we have so people that are doing waste management, we have so people that are trained in solar, we have so much people that are trained in wind. If there is a gap that now doesn't speak to the value chain that have been identified, the scholarships are there for us to be able to train and upscale. The next stage to that process is what we call transitional local procurement target figures commitments. What does this mean? If we are going to say there are investors that are coming in, now that we have identified these are the value chains, we have identified the shortcomings of the people or the businesses and the upside of it. How much of your investment is here targeted to youth? How many Namibian youth, how many people from Kharas are you going to employ? Once we have that target, let's say, okay, if you are coming to invest, let's say in solar and this type of 90% of the people employing or procurement must be youth that are Namibian. And government has to make sure that there is an action plan to hold them accountable and implement, obviously, in phases. The next stage then will be developing the local content plan for the green industrialization. That this what I'm talking is tailored for Kharas. But we are saying, let us roll it out to the rest of the country. There are a lot of projects that are going up in the country, in the Rongo, everywhere, so that the youth benefit. On top of that, the next stage is what we call develop an enterprise and supplier development plan. What does this mean? This means, okay, here is Kharas CC company has been given a tender to supply concrete for mixing and be putting up solar panels or wind panels. But this Kharas CC only has one truck. He can't deliver with one truck. Now, DPN and other financial institutions, how do we help this entity to be able that it meets its obligation of delivery? Basically, it's talking about how do we create local champions? How do we create local champions? Just to rally them behind to say that you are going to be our champion in construction, you are going to be our champion in work. And then the establishment of ad hoc government special economic zone committee that will look at implementing such. Now, without going further, that is on hydrogen. And the opportunities there, it's one thing to say there are a lot, but the question is, are we hoping to see the opportunities that are there or the opportunities that we think should be there? One of the opportunities, for example, I was having a discussion that when these people come and set up the camps and work, they will not have time to go to a barber shop. Just for you to come to that camp to cut hair, they pay in US dollar, right? It's $100 US. So let's say you cut 10 people in London because they can't go anywhere to the salon. How much will you be making? But most of the time, in my part-time, I'm also a motivational speaker, so I like to advise fellows by saying, most of the time we want white-collar jobs, but the real job that actually make money is this. Yes, those ones. So they will be, and I encourage you to go onto a website called gh2namibia.com. There will be a lot of information. Some of this information I'm talking is still work in progress, but it will be there for you to read and see what value chain and where do I find myself there. Let's move to oil and gas. I want to be categorically clear that oil and gas won't solve all our problems in as far as employment is concerned. How? Because this is a high capital market, and most of these opportunities, especially for offshore, they are away from Lundres, for example, into the sea. Will it create employment? Yes, but not enough. So what are we saying about oil and gas? We are saying with oil and gas, as a government, we need to come up with robust, tailor-made policies that make sure that the proceeds that are coming from oil and gas, in as much as it's not going to employ everyone, it goes to other sectors of the economy that creates employment like agriculture. We make sure that some of those proceeds goes into the sovereign wealth fund, ring-fenced for the future generation. Now, with oil and gas, I must say, as a country, I don't think we have a comprehension of what is about to come. Now, what is important is we need to educate ourselves. There are three potential things of it. Currently, as we speak, there are scholarships that are open with petrol fund. Petrol fund. There are scholarships. Now, when the people leave, you will have no one on the other side of the table, and our country will be solved. What is the key? The key is to educate people so that in as much as other people leave to other companies that are poaching them due to remuneration and other benefits, you still have skilled people that are able to negotiate contracts and still create opportunities for the youth. Currently, we are dealing with the local content policy. And the local content policy, and I'm glad the Honorable Minister is here, it's being unpacked very well, and it's going, I think it's going to go to regions for the region to input what is it that is missing in the local policy. And it's talking about employment creation and upskilling. It's talking about how do we access, it's one thing to say youth must create opportunities and jobs, but where does the financing come from? So there has to be a deliberate intention to that policy to say, this is how we are going to help our youth to have access to finance, technology, and R&D. There are a lot of opportunities in oil and gas in terms of SMEs. For example, at the airports, let's say if you look at Lutheran's airport or Angeles, you can come up with an idea to say, we just want to have a warehouse just for rental to store these chemicals that they are bringing and so forth. Now, one of the biggest challenges we have as youth is we want to work alone, but we don't want to work as a team to say that this is our idea and how can, when you are united, nothing can really put you down. And we should stop doing things in silos. So that is on oil and gas. I'm cautious about time. Concluding with the mining sector. Concluding with the mining sector is that, unfortunately, with our mining industry, there are no really tailored programs towards youth. However, because we have an open system, anybody is free to apply for an exploration license or the mineral claim. So I will talk more on the opportunities on the and the small-scale mining the mineral claims, which does not even require you to have a lot of money, because our government have done a good job in a sense that they've done a survey of our minerals and they've done the classification, and all this is available with our geological survey at the Ministry of Mines and Energy. So you could go there and say, I want to see how our minerals have been categorized. I'm interested in this one. Which of the areas is still free for me to be able to apply for this claim? Then you can apply a claim, and I think it's about 250 Namibian dollars per mining claim. And you are allowed to have up to 10. I think 10 is a cap as a person. So these are the information that we should be able to access and see how it can work for us. Lastly, as I conclude, is just to encourage fellow youth to say, some of these things won't happen overnight, and this is reality talking, because you didn't want somebody that will just sell you dreams. So you require patience, but during that patience, you need to build your character, you need to build attitude. When oil and gas companies come and hire people, they don't hire because you are skilled or you are an expert. They hire because of your attitude. If once your attitude is right, they have tailor-made programs to make you an expert to their own making. So as youth, that is one thing we need to look at, like, how is my attitude? Am I teachable? Am I disciplined? In all those things. But other than that, I'm sure I will engage through conversation. I thought I should unpack that. Thank you very much for listening.
My panelist has been asking me, moderator, don't be that tough on us. And I'm seeing that they are pushing it. But nevertheless, I think we are learning a lot and we are being quite informed. Are we still there, youth? Or are we listening and we are unpacking and thinking and our brains are starting to work how to position ourselves for the opportunities that is yet to come? Thank you very much, Comrade Franz. It's highly appreciated, all the information. From me as the moderator, I also just want to highlight something. I have been in the Kharas region, white area, and I think one of the main problems or the obstacles that our youth is also facing in getting to this oil vessels is there's a certain training that the kids have to go through that is only in South Africa. So we have a lot of qualified artisans, but just because of this training, I think it's a safety training or something, based on this training, this will allow and open the doors for these artisans to get employed on these vessels. So therefore, I would just also want you to slightly unpack, I know time, but we need to really get this information to unpack what is the way forward for this youth to get themselves ready, or if there's any funds available for them to go for these trainings.
Thank you very much. That's a very relevant question. One thing we need to understand that in as much as we are advocating for jobs, and there will never be a compromise on safety and environment. That is key. So you need to equip yourself that you are healthy and aware of that. So yes, there are two institutions in South Africa. One is in Cape Town, actually it's at the University of Cape Peninsula, but it's not OBITO certified. OBITO certified, it means if you get a training from there, you can only maybe go in the Namibian waters, but you are not able to go international. And other companies, they might refuse it. So there is one in Saldanha Bay. So basically it's called BOSIT, Basic Offshore Safety Induction Training. And there's what you call HUET, Helicopter Underwater Escape Training. So they just simulate you to put you like in a helicopter and dump you in a swimming pool so that you can come out. So that because these operations are very dangerous. Now, as we speak, there is a company called Omitech. Omitech have set up in Valves Bay, and you are free to say, many of you know our recently joined member, Comrade Knowledge Pinge. Yes, so they are running that institution. So it will no longer need to go to Cape Town, but so it has come closer. That is one step closer. The next step, so they will be doing those training, and not only for oil and gas, even for the BS. The next step is for the Ministry of Mines and Energy, for the governor's offices to say, we have this youth, how do we mobilize resources to make sure that they are trained to go there? And maybe I might be speaking out of them, I like to be frank. The oil and gas companies, the scholarship that you are seeing from Pedro Fund, that money comes from oil and gas company. So when they come and get a license in Namibia, there is a condition for them to give towards the training of Namibians. So 30% of that goes to Mines and Energy for training the personnel there and the company's personnel. 70% of that amount that is agreed goes to Pedro Fund. If need be, there's nothing wrong in terms of policy to say, can we get the 10% that will be ring-fenced towards the training of safety and standards of our Namibian people, and there can be a criteria how you can adopt that. So this, it's through deliberation and through discourse, and I like that because I will take it up with my leader, Honorable Tom, to make sure that he's also a leader assigned to Kharas, right? Yes. So those questions are good. Sorry to put you on spot, boss. But we need to make sure that we have discussions that gives about solutions to fund these youth that are unable to fund themselves with this training. Because you still have to go out for another training for the ear, for the eyes, until you are certified medically fit. But the institution is now in Namibia. They are just doing with regulatory. From next year, it should be able to be accessible in here in Namibia. And you should set up one here in Kharas. So that is a business. That's a business opportunity. All you need is just the support for you to set that up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CD France. Ooh, it's quite a lot of information. So I won't waste any more time. Let's just get to our next speaker, Mr. Anthony, our comrade. He's going to unpack more about agricultural practices and opportunities for the youth, and how he's going to solve some few problems and training that is going to be involved in agriculture in the near future. So please listen attentively, my fellow youth. And yeah, Anthony, can you please take the driver's seat?
Thank you, moderator. Yeah, Kharas, as we all know, I think the Honorable Governor is also aware of it. We have started in greenhouse. There was an environmental impact assessment that we've undertaken. It was approved. So we are going to start in 2025. We're going to start with the aquaponics project, where we will employ about between 150 to 100 youth, because it's a youth initiative that we have undertaken. And then that's also an opportunity for the youth. One of the things that we have that we have also taken is in order not to send our youth out to other countries to get training. I also went to Wisconsin in the United States to be certified as an aquaponics to provide master classes, which we are actually intending to start with the first one now, I think towards the end of October, that we would like to start with our first aquaponic master classes. So there are a few opportunities, especially in agriculture, with regards to food security, because that's one of our main aims, because we would like to use, seeing that we have the oil and gas, the green hydrogen in Kharas, that we can use our agriculture also to feed the oil and gas as well as the green hydrogen. Also, one of our initiatives that we want to undertake in our project is to create a 24-hour operations in our project, so that we can have create more, at least 3 shifts of groups of people, which will grow from, if it's 150, at least we can have 3 times that on a daily basis. So we will have 3 shifts. So that's also something that we are working on, but that will be towards the end of 2025. So yeah, for agriculture, there's quite a lot of opportunities. There's also for the farmers. There's also a training manual that we are currently busy with, also for the farmers to create their own fodder. So we have systems, our teams in Dubai have got systems in place that we will place on the farms that will also generate water from the air instead of drilling down. So that's also part of our project that we would like to do. So yeah, it's the agriculture is actually what we need for Kharas, especially with, I know that if we go to the shops, the produce quality, it still looks fresh, but the taste is gone. So, and the system that we have the food after you have harvested will still stay about 10 to 15 days, still fresh as it is, which will actually be an advantage for us. So, and through this project, we would also like to create opportunities for youth, job creations. At least somebody can come and we will assist them also financially through our project in order to set up in villages and in other towns, and then we feed them from Keetmanshoop. So that will also create an opportunity for someone else that can create jobs for locals in that area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade, for keeping that short, sweet, and very informative. So there is training. Training is going to start very soon. So align yourself, know to speak to, get yourself in order, and know when, where, and how. And after the sessions, you can also interact with our panelists. So, but let's go to our last but not least speaker. So we have been our teacher, education is important. And then we heard about the oil and gas opportunities. And then training is also coming to the Kharas region. So solutions are coming, opportunities are coming. And what are we going to do as the youth to get ourselves in place, to align ourselves? And Mr. Franz, our comrade, also said our attitude is very important. So as youth, you need to respect yourself, get your attitude right, and also educate yourself. But then our last speaker, she's going to unpack how we are going to get into business. The importance of entrepreneurship, how we start businesses, and our agricultural speaker just told us that we're going to grow crops and sell our fruits and vegetables. So now we're going to get into business. How are we going to get our businesses registered, and how are we going to have a good attitude to make our customers come back and we sell our products to our customers. So then, last but not least, we're gonna have Comrade Dino. But yeah, please listen attentively. I hope you people are taking notes. Thank you.
Do you mind if I stand? Yes. Okay. Where, young lions, where? Rosa, youth of Kharas, Rosa! Viva SWAPO, viva! When we sang the national anthem, it was the first time that it gave me extreme goosebumps. And I think it's the only time in my life that I've had extreme goosebumps singing that national anthem. And I think it's because we're in the Kharas region. Allow me to acknowledge Her Excellency, our incoming president, General Ndaitwa, the honorables. I know there's quite a number here this evening, but especially the youth and Conrad Valmery. I'm mightily impressed by you, and I look forward to working with you. So this would be the opportunity that I ask you to be on your phones, because I want to see people taking notes. And my hope is that there might be 1 or 2 nuggets that come out of this conversation. Comrade Franz took the whole 30 minutes, Madam Moderator, so I will take my 10 minutes calmly. I've been fortunate to speak in the region on a few occasions. I've spoken in Luderitz, I've spoken in Rashpina, we've spoken in Betani, obviously in Keetmanshoop, but Karasburg I have not spoken. And I know there's a number of towns in the region that I still look forward to speaking to young people. But I do think that the town of Keetmanshoop receive a lot of support from speakers, from people engaging. And I don't want the town of Keetmanshoop to take that for granted. As I was driving here this morning, I thought, how can I intertwine the manifesto, entrepreneurship and sport, things that I'm very passionate about. And we have our own interpretation of the manifesto, or I'm going to try my best to unpack my interpretation of key themes that speak to young people from the manifesto this evening. But there's our guided principles: loyalty, solidarity, and justice. And our Excellency always gives her view of what solidarity, justice, and loyalty speak to. And I'm going to try my best this evening as well. So to be loyal means to be true to your word. It's to do what you say. It is to be reliable and trustworthy. And it is to be a true comrade. Solidarity means to be united. To our manifesto point, unity in diversity. If we are united, we can move forward. We must think of everyone. Prosperity that is not shared is not sustainable. And lastly, justice. This I understand as treating everyone fairly, regardless of race, religion, town, age, sex, even political affiliation. It is about doing the right thing. And I like a quote from Albert Einstein. It said, "What's popular is not always right, and what's right is not always popular." We can maybe say, "Viva SWAPO, viva!" There we go. Her Excellency has said at every platform that I've heard her speak that the manifesto is our development Bible and our promise and commitment to the Namibian people. I have never read a document as many times as I've read this document. It's in my bag behind me. There are 12 sectors that I urge young people to go and read. There are only 36 pages from the SWAPO manifesto. And some of those sectors that I think are noteworthy include economic growth, natural resource beneficiation, sport, youth empowerment, and SME development. You also need to go and read that document. You can find it online, and I'll gladly share mine with anybody that asks for it. But before I get into unpacking the manifesto, and I'm going to use football as my analogy this evening, I want to repeat something that I shared in Opuo a few weeks ago. We have a leader that prioritizes young people. We have a leader that will not sleep as she ensures that young people are empowered. And we have a leader that will make sure that we are accountable to deliver for young people. Let's give Netumbo a round of applause. I have a question, especially to the gentlemen, but also to the ladies. Who supports young Brazilians here this evening, maybe by raise of hands? There's a few of you. So my team came to Keetmanshoop last season. If any of you know Julinho. But we couldn't beat YB. And then YB came to Rundu and beat my team in Rundu. But I forgive you. We have a Member of Parliament in waiting, Honorable Clementia Kutsia, here this evening, the former Vice Chair of YB. Maybe just stand and wave to everyone. Let's give... And when we were speaking before we started the event this evening, I asked her about YB. And I said, why did YB relocate from Kharas to Keetmanshoop? And she said, because we don't have a grass field in Kharas. That is the reality that we face. In Rundu, there's only one grass field. In many other localities and in towns, even in villages, we have no grass fields. And we need to work collectively to fix that. I want YB to go back to Kharas. Yes? Okay. So, I thought to maybe speak to opportunities just around the team YB. And I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. 10 opportunities. And I was thinking about it this afternoon. So this is a Premiership football team. And this team need to eat before a match and after a match. Opportunity 1, right? The team need to wash their training gear and their match gear, correct? The third one, the team needs to put their social media content out in the world and create content, right? Number 4, the team needs to plan the logistics on a match day, the tickets, gate taking, etc. Number 5, the team need to travel in a clean bus or vehicle. The team need to treat the players that have injuries. The team need a videographer to take recordings of training sessions. We have all these videographers here listening to me. The team needs supporters, t-shirts, they need caps, they need regalia. I'm not even finished, we're at number 8. The team need media reports that they can sell to media houses. The team need radio commentary. I'm going to stop at number 10. Any young person can do any one of those 10 things, and you need no capital to do it. That's just one Premier League team in the mighty Kharas region. So when you think of opportunities for young people, I've used football. Those are 10 opportunities immediately. By being proactive, you can engage. Maybe everyone will go knock on the door of YB tomorrow, but the opportunities, and Comrade Frank spoke about ecosystems and value chains. There's always going to be value chains. So I don't want to stand here and sound like a hypocrite speaking about entrepreneurship. If you've never failed in business, you should not come and talk about being an entrepreneur. Is that accurate? Okay. So there's a saying, you have thinkpreneurs and you have entrepreneurs. And I'm sure many of you in the room have been thinkpreneurs. You've been thinking about that idea for a long time. And maybe this evening is the time when we say, stop thinking about your business opportunity and start doing it. I wanted to share when I was in my first year at UNAM in Windhoek campus. And I noted down a few things that I did. And to my comrade Frida, you were talking about your hustle. And I don't like the word hustle. I want you to formalize your hustle. We need to register what you're trying to do, and that way you can access finance that Comrade Valerie said is very difficult to access. So when I was at UNAM, we had a second-hand bookshop for textbooks. Many students need textbooks, isn't it? And once you finish with that textbook, what do you do with it? You don't use it again. I used to wash cars in my street with a bucket in the one hand and a vacuum machine in the other hand. This is at maybe 18, 19 years old. We would wash cars. I used to coach young players football. I used to teach young people entrepreneurship. I even worked as a bartender, I think, for 2 nights. The second night, the car guard made more money than me. So I said, no, I'm going to stop this one. This doesn't make sense. But when we talk about young people and we talk about putting your hand up and we say taking opportunities, taking risks, you have to do that. And hard work is what we're speaking of tonight, isn't it? I think when we were speaking in other towns, we say SWAPO United, now hard work. Can we say that loud? SWAPO United? I think I'm saying it incorrectly. There we go, thank you. So I wanted to, maybe as I move to the end, I wanted to highlight no capital opportunities for us to formalize. And I also have 10 points that I wanted to mention, very specific to the region of Kharas. So tutoring primary school learners, even high school learners, it's a no capital opportunity. Can you teach someone in grade 1 how to count to 10? I'm sure you can, right? We don't necessarily need to have cars, but we can walk young people to and from school. You can monetize these ideas. We have home services, whether that be cleaning windows, cleaning the yard, there are services. Today when I came, the car is very dirty. I wish there was someone that could take the car, wash the car, and bring the car back. I would pay for that service. We talk about online. The new normal is to go online. If you're not taking advantage of online, then you're sleeping. Your customer is not necessarily in the town of Keetmanshoop. Your customer can be in SA. Your customer can be in Angola. Your customer can be anywhere. We need to take advantage of online. And I think maybe I touched on personal services, but before I conclude, Comrade Franz spoke about the GH2 website, which is a national website for opportunities around green hydrogen. I want you to note down info MSME, IN, the number 4, MSME, meaning micro, small, medium enterprise.com. That's a national repository to your business. If we don't know what you do, how can we support you? And so there are 4 key points that I want you to note before I conclude. And the first one is start without funding. Just start. You don't need the money. The second one is you need to smart partner. If that's with local authority, if that's with schools, with government, you need to form smart partnerships. The third one is to innovate and to do things a little bit differently. Do things the Kharas way. And the fourth point is to focus online. It is the new normal. With that, youth of the mighty Kharas region, I really look forward to having conversations afterward. And if there's one takeaway for tonight, it's just start, and we will do the rest later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, comrade. Dear youth, we have arrived to the moment we have all been waiting for. Yes. So that is now the moment where we open the floor for questions. But since time is not on our side, we are just going to have 4 questions. That's why you said you can still conversate with our panelists afterwards. Yes. So, Comrade just invited you to talk to him afterwards. He can't even wait for you to speak to him afterwards. So, I have been giving our moderators time to give and unpack a lot of information. So, people are saying that I didn't keep up to the time because they asked me to be lenient. It was a backdoor thing for you to gain a lot of information. And now you want to throw me with stones, dear youth. Let's just please, we already got the information. Time is not our side. We have a lot to do tomorrow. So we're just gonna have 4 questions. And then you can still come to Comrade Dino, to Comrade France, ask them, what is the way forward, comrades? How do I get in touch with the right people? So, the 4 questions that we are going to have, can we have hands, please? I think I'm going to take 2 from this side. Dear you, please, we need to also give our VP time to raise. She has been in a lot of conversations today.
These questions are not for VP, for the panelists.
Yes.
The panelists will remain when they make it.
Okay. So I've just been informed that our panelists will remain afterwards for more questions. But for now, we're just going to take 4 questions for our panelists only. Is that fine? Don't be that difficult, you. Attitudes. We just spoke about attitude, please. Okay. Comrade, you are going to be number 1. A question behind there. You? Yes, comrade. Number 2, 2 hands from the side. Oh, there's only 2 hands from the side. Thank you. Okay, 1, 2. So, comrade, can you please?
Yeah. Comrades, shall we listen now to the questions, right? Yeah, let's do the right thing. Good evening. Allow me to stand on the protocol observed. My name is Colin Njai. I'm a student at UNAM. Her Excellency, we have met already in many occasions. But before I come to my question, allow me to say the South has great people, really. The South has great teams and good deeds. I don't know if I'm audible. Yes. We have the like of Comrade Krone. She really assists where she can to reduce poverty in this nation of Kharas region, whereby she would bury even people from her own pocket or donations that she will get from anywhere. And then we have the likes of our own beloved governor. I am standing in UNAM today as a second-year student because of her office, because of my governor, not only me, we as a team, we are standing in UNAM because of her office. Comrade Her Excellency, Comrade Mother, allow me to tell you that the greatest region here has good more people. Comrade Klute over there, Kutsie, do make a use of them, please. In absentia, our Director of Health as well, these people are really assisting the youth of the mighty Kharas region. Yeah, allow me to go to my questions now. The students at UNAM, or a program at UNAM was introduced, recognition of prior learning was introduced. But unfortunately, these students are still suffering at UNAM because NASAF cannot fund them. Really, it is a problem to many youth because their funds since last year, because it was introduced last year, since last year, their funds are not yet paid. Yeah, it's really a struggle. Coming back to the South, youth of the South, we have two types of youth. We have those who are at home, we have those who are struggling, as my comrade Wallace there have said. Currently, as we are standing, there are youth at high school who are working at bars day after one to sustain their homes, of which is really a big pain into our lives as leaders of the Kharas region. Allow me now not to talk as a youth, but as a section leader. We are trying our best at my section to educate or to make sure that the youth of the mighty Kharas have started their learner's license. We are getting difficult with funds. We are struggling. I don't know if my secretary is here, Comrade Andrea. Okay. Since he's not here, we are really struggling to fund. Oh, okay. Thank you, Comrade Andrea. We have so far enrolled 4 students with letters of whereby they are writing next week. We booked for them from our pockets, from the section. Now we are struggling to fund them for driving license, sorry. So it is a struggle. What we want to do in our section is we want to make sure that the youth, at least you find them halfway. They need to have learner's license, they need at least to have the small bit, just incomes, but it's really difficult in Kharas region. So having have said that, my comrades, please, we do need help. We do need help. We do need funds, especially at UNAM, at those ones who are not working. If it's possible, please, comrades, my last point, if it's possible, allow the Kharas youth, please, even if they have to start working or even if they have to go to school, allow them to be funded, please. Because sometimes they are funded only for school in Ventu, but now the problem comes that they do not have accommodation, so they have to remain behind. It is a problem, really. I so submit. Have a blessed night.
So there was no question.
Good evening to Her Excellency. Good evening, my fellow comrades. Viva SWAPO, viva! First of all, my name is Zakaria Cleopas, well known as Tangeni, around the whole of Keetmanshoop. So, my question is as follows. We have heard the things that were said, especially by Comrade Franz. Employment will come, job creation will come, but I think there is an agency and there is a need for us to tackle something, especially in Keetmans and the whole Kharas at large. What are we going to do to get most of our youth that we have in the streets today? Most of those high school dropouts, some of them not even high school, they drop out since grade 2. Now they are in the streets calling themselves wash. What are we going to do on that one? Because I think there is a crisis. Because we have more or less each and every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you hear somebody was stepped, somebody was grabbed their things, they go home only in their pajamas. So I think there is a need to tackle that one. So what are we going to do to tackle that one? Because that one is a crisis that we need to handle as soon as possible. That's my question. Thank you.
Who is the question stated to from the panelists?
My question goes out to every comrade that is here, including the ones that are sitting here, because for me, I can tell you what I think should be done. I think we must have more educators. You don't need to be a teacher to educate somebody not to go to the streets. You don't need to have been at UNAM to educate somebody not to use drugs and alcohol. So I think we should all become educators. We should motivate. You have a small brother that doesn't want to go to school, talk to them, get time, get a social worker, just do anything, I think. Thank you, Panelist.
The third question.
Thank you very much. All protocol observers, His Excellency and Candidate President Mr. Netumbo. Viva SWAPO, viva! Viva SWAPO, viva! Forward with the youth, forward! Thank you very much. My question is based what is affecting the country right now. According to the 34 years of independence, we said delay in this development service in Kharas and a concern in a national way. First of all, we have 1.6 million Namibians living in poverty, 1.2 million graduates sitting at home without jobs. These unemployment leads us now to the streets, especially the young ladies, turn to prostitution to make as a source of income. To guys, we turn to crime to feed ourselves and also as a source of income. To my president and the incoming president, Mr. Netumbo, our president, in trust that I put in you, based on the quality leadership that you are going to place in the new governments, what combat and what criteria is our excellency going to use to ensure that based on the quality of a leadership, that everybody is not left out based on employment, based through benefiting the resources of this country? That is my question. Because we are graduating and graduating, the number keeps rising. And in years' time, if we don't really change our governance, especially, we have number one, sex for employment in ministries, in private companies, nepotism is one thing also. And favoritism is also one thing. So, people that are in power, victimizing us in offices, leading us to be on the streets and to take the law into our own hands and survival means. His Excellency, Mr. Netumbo, we really rely on you now, after these 34 years of independence, for us to benefit from the resources of this country and also to be employed according to our certificates that are just in suitcase, at home, under the beds, and stressing because we don't know where the next meal or money will come from. We need quality leaderships. We need quality directors, chiefs in ministries, especially through your governors, this excellency. So away with corruption, away with nepotism, away with sex for promotion, away. Forward with better governance, forward. Forward with the people, forward. Forward with equality, forward. Thank you very much.
The questions were supposed to be stated for the panelists. But I think you are running over with what
Good evening, everyone. I would really love to talk very, very loud, but my voice just disappeared. The distinguished guests, I greet you all, and everybody present here. My name is Sophia Amungela, a second-year student at the University of Namibia Southern Campus. Well, my question is directed to Comrade Franz. He's here representing the Ministry of Mines and Energy, if I'm not mistaken. So my question goes, is it too early or is it just my brain? Because I was wondering, the Kharas region has an abundant sunlight for 300 days out of 365 days. So what if we have a solar plant in place in the Kharas region? This will help us not only create job opportunities, but also create electricity, which you just said, that is the reason why we have the green hydrogen in the first place, right? To decrease the rate of electricity. We don't need to import electricity from South Africa or Zambia, where we're currently importing it. We can produce our own electricity here in the south or here in the mighty Kharas. So I was just, can we have that, or are we still not there? Thank you.
Sorry, comrades, we exhausted our questions now. We had 4 questions that were supposed to be stated for the panelists, but yet we just have 1 question stated for the panelists now. So therefore, we'll give Mr. C. Franz, can you please answer the question stated for you?
Thank you very much. I think the question that was asked is on electricity, if they can put up solar panels, right? That's a very good question. And we know that through government, there is a program or a policy that has been introduced, what you call independent power producer. So meaning the production of electricity is no longer only a sole responsibility of NamPower. So every single Namibian have a right to generate electricity. Now, putting up solar panels is not the difficult part. The difficult part is who is going to offtake that power? Who are you going to sell it to? Because remember in my earlier remark when I said the cost of electricity is what hinders everything. So if I'm not mistaken, here in the south there is no rent, right? There's no rent. So you are getting directly from NamPower. This is a very interesting question. The reason why I'm saying it's interesting is because how the question should be asked is, how should we make sure that these independent power producers have a fair chance to be able to sell power to the municipality or the town council of Lutherans, of Keetmanshoop and things? Because the challenge is NamPower will outcompete you because of the economy of scale. What that means that NamPower will produce that power from the Ruakana and other, let's say, Anihas and all other projects they have. They will be able to sell that electricity much cheaper than your solar. So, in an economic sense, why should I buy an expensive electricity from your solar when I can get it from NamPower? So, maybe the other question will be, and I don't want to talk out of depth, is to say, maybe NamPower, your sole mandate now should be focused on to transmission. Let the generation just be to empower the locals to bring about electricity, bring about competition. then you will not be competing with the big giants like Power in terms of price, and they will be having a different mandate of distribution, transmission. So that conversation of uncoupling needs to happen. But to answer the question is, there is nothing that stops you from putting up solar. Maybe the other avenue you can look at is, I was looking at in the annual report of the Mining Chamber of 2023. I think if you look at on page 6, there is a map where they have highlighted what kind of mines are in Kharas. So, because of the global warming and the decarbonization agenda, every mine must also demonstrate their sustainability plan. How are they reducing the carbon content onto their operations? Of which solar panels, the electricity from solar is clean. They need to integrate it if they haven't done it themselves. So you can put up a solar plant and be able, don't put it before you get a market. So first, you must go to these mines and ask, I'm willing to put up these solar panels and I'm going to generate so much megawatts of power. How much are you willing to take from me as a local, as part of your corporate social responsibility, as part of your mandate to empower the locals? And that also needs to be policy driven. Then you can have, let's say, Vedanta. Currently, I think there's a mine that is under case, it's Scorpion Vedanta. And the reason of that is because of the cost of electricity. It's the cost of electricity. But if you can bring your electricity that is cheap, the mine will be able to offtake, and that project can be ring-fenced to the youth of Kharas, and everybody benefits. I think, let me end there. Maybe on Rabutom, you would want to add to that.
Just quickly, Your Excellency. The question was, why don't we build a plant in the Kharas region? We already have one. We do have a solar plant in Roshpina. We do have one in Nutrus. Right now, Nanda is building one, and we do have 2 other private sector companies that are also building 2 solar plants. So we already have, but we must just keep adding onto those what we have.
To the panelists, I want to put one question out there. No. The question was stated by our comrade CD. What can we do? What can you advise the people of Keetmanshoop to reduce the crime and the dropouts in schools? Anyone?
All right, thank you for the question. As I mentioned that with NIMT, they came up with a spectacular program, I think last year, beginning of this year, the special training program. And most of the learners that we have sent to that program are learners that struggled with discipline. And I don't know what methods they are using there at NIMT, but the boys, when they finish their course, they become totally different citizens. Disciplined, they have manners, even when they come to school because they want to come and show off that they are now somebody, totally different people. So unfortunately, I don't want to speak out of term. I speak under correction. The learners these days have a lot of rights. They are untouchable, basically. So from our side as a teacher, we just want to encourage parental involvement in schools. Check up on your child, come to school, come and see if the child is doing their work. But if you are at home and you are relaxed, the child that is at school is totally different from the person who's at home. Because at home they are angels, but there at schools we are really struggling. So parental involvement is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our teacher. I would not waste any more time, and I would hand the mic over to our MC, because it's been long overdue, and yet very informative. Therefore, I know a few people are angry with me because we didn't state some questions, but bear with us, please. Thank you.
Thank you, comrades. Good evening, comrades. For those ones who just joined us, indeed, I would also like to acknowledge our members of parliament who also just joined us, and Central Committee members, and also members of the Politburo, if any. Indeed, it was a constructive discussion, and I also just want to highlight on a few points that really I've picked up from this discussion. And then on education, there were some key points that were mentioned, or which I have picked up, and I believe that they are really important for us to take away. Skills development, it's really important, especially in our nation. We need skills in order to do things, in order to produce things. We have to technical schools. It's really important. If you have attended a technical school or a school which have got a department of a technical, or a school that have a technical department, it's very important because you learn something from there, something that you never had, rather than just reading. Then also from the mining, yeah. What we will do also is that we will allow 4 questions directed to VP before we give VP the opportunity for her to give her inputs and her reflections on the discussions that we just had now. I will then allow 2 hands from this side and then 2 hands from the other side to direct the questions to VP. Okay, there's 1 here, 2 hands here. Okay, there's that one and number 4. Okay.
Good evening, comrades, and good evening, fellow comrades who are sitting in this history. I'm Comrade Richard Abram. I'm the coach of Keetmanshoop and anthems. These questions relate to our meeting. Since 2017, we established this meeting club. 22 members, 2419, I end up with 15 top athletes. And since from 2018, since we came to our top 10 members, this is what I have to keep open to comment. What in elected common as a president next in 5 years. So yeah, the question is the answer is coming through. We elected most of the club was established in 2017. We are in members in the under 15 boys and to 16 years of age and 14 plus. Our sole purpose in the development of schools among the youth and expose them ethics across the nation. We are Keetmanshoop Athletic Club, a rise and born region and have athletes that loves and enjoy athletics from very early ages. They all educated backgrounds. We have some having finished grade 1 and some drop out in grade 10. Over this year, we achieved in many athletic events, especially marathons, where we achieved many awards. We have hardworking athletes, in tournaments and want to continue what athletics can do. We would like to participate in the marathon events, but we cannot go on to participate in the different events due to lack of sponsorship. We are motivated and rich our emotions and we feature about running over the country in the upcoming events. Over the years, we did more class and as short screen such as one system. We are proud. We are proud and achieve the following result throughout the career as we establish a major congratulations received in our governments. Thank you very much, and we are hoping to pray the President to be
I would like to urge you so that we can stick to 1 minute per question and let us not comment, just ask the question due to time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, comrades. Good evening. Let me please acknowledge the protocol as established. Good evening to our Honorable VP. I would have actually loved to get an opportunity to ask this question directed to the panelists. Pardon me. Yet I would rather plead to the Honorable VP in the sense that the slogan is youth empowerment at the end of the day. Now, if I can turn around and look here, I could almost say that half of us who are sitting here of those that are sitting here are people that recently completed grade 11 or the AS level. If that's not the case, I'm speaking on behalf of those now. My question is, or my plea is to you, Honorable VP, as our mother, incoming president, during your leadership, there is a tradition that, especially with government positions that are advertised, a simple driver position. I'm also glad that our Honorable Minister of Health is sitting here. A simple driver position will require a grade 10. That's the original requirements. We all know that there is a lot of youth that are seeking jobs. 100 or 1,500 applications come in. An internal process takes place to minimize those 1,500 applications. And then this original grade 12 requirement, grade 10 requirement is lifted internally to a grade 12 and a CE driver's license. Now, what happens to this person who could only, allowed by life situations, obtain that grade 12, of which the requirements was originally grade 10? what happens to that person? And then on the other hand, someone who is in the employment sector, because of these requirements that were internally increased, someone who's already in the employment sector applies. Because this person has been for years in employment, had funds and the means to upgrade his or her grade 10 to grade 12, and even a certificate of that for that matter. That person applies for this position, gets appointed in this position, and this position stays vacant for the next 2 to 3 years. Whereas this person for who had the grade 10 requirement could have been considered and employed in this position and be given the chance to upgrade him or herself instead of the person that is already employed. Where will we stop? Every year there are a lot of grade 11s, not only dropouts, but pupils that finish school and passes all the subjects. Where do they go? We are talking about youth empowerment for all. How is this youth empowerment for all if this is the discriminatory process that is happening internally? Please, my honorable president, incoming president, as a mother, think of those who cannot afford to upgrade themselves and stop this process that is happening internally that discriminates to the rest that cannot afford to upgrade themselves. I thank you.
Good everyone, and I speak under Protocol Observe. Going through VP, my question was actually going to be directed to Mr. Franz Kalenga. I'm a geologist by profession, and I graduated at the Southern campus for my honors. When it comes to the labs, we don't have these facilities, and I thought, let me try again, let me come back again for the masters, and I came back. We are not having labs, we are not having the ICPMS machine and the Kharas machines to do our lab analysis. My colleagues, including myself, we did this through other universities, and it's difficult. So with this said, it seems like the university is a bit being political, and it makes the geosciences department difficult for us, for the students. I'll be completing my MSc this year, but I want my colleagues that are behind not to go through the same experience. Again, with this said, my lab analysis are being done in South Africa because we don't have this, we're not doing this SRF SPMS analysis here. It's a bit difficult, so we don't want these things to be political, so please look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to all the distinguished guests and our Vice President, Ms. Netumbo. My name is Louise Namagundu, and I'm a first-year student at UNAM. My question is, now that mental health has become a problem in our schools and our youth, what is the solution in solving this problem? Well, I want to request the Education Minister to implement a subject or course in our schools to teach children from young ages how to deal with mental health issues, as it has become a problem in our youth. I thank you.
I will give the opportunity for our Vice President to respond to the questions and also to do the reflection on the discussions. Thank you.
Okay.
the Director of Ceremonies, as well as our moderator, and the panelists, and all the leaders in the room, and of course, all of us present. I have two tasks to perform. The first one is to make a reflection on the presentation as well as on the questions that were directed to the presenters. And then the last part is to respond to the 4 questions that were directed to me. First and foremost, once again, I have to thank the SWAPO Youth League for organizing these programs called Youth in Conversation with Netumbo. And the topics they've been choosing since the program started, even though it was started before we launched our manifesto, I'm starting to convince myself that this conversation is basically interrogating our manifesto. And I like that approach because now what we are doing here as party members, we are all familiarizing ourselves with this manifesto and we are going to own it. And once we own it, I'm sure it's not going to be difficult for us to implement. For example, all the subtopics which were discussed today, they are highlighted in our manifesto. Education being one of them. And the main concern that we are finding there is the issue of the quality of our education and how we can capture the wastage that we are finding in our system. And when we talk about the system or the wastage we have in our system across the country, is the dropouts. And these dropouts are not just those who are dropping out in grade 10, grade 12, but you have dropouts throughout the system. The kids, they start 20 in a class in grade 1. And you find when they so in other words, you might find there are children who are remaining. And that is a very big concern. It came out in 1 year when it was reported that out of enter the grade 1, only 65% they go to grade 10 and 12. And the question now, where is the 35? Now the 35 are those ones who dropped from grade 1, grade 2, up to those grades. And here that is where, in responding or questioning, one of the comrades mentioned that let all of us become educators. because how would you expect the teacher, the minister, the president to ensure that all the children, they move from grade 1 to grade 2? But that has to be the responsibility of all of us in the community, so that they can be moved in order to make sure that we capture them in our system. The issue of the special schools, again, we also said it clearly in our manifesto. We have to find a way how to implement it. When we talk about even students or children who have special needs, because a children that you were explaining, and I know truly you have learners, they understand what they are learning, but they don't know how to write it. And I have seen some who the parents managed to give them space in special school, and they came out to be the best engineers. So you are very much right. We have to find a way, what can we do about those ones, because really it's a challenge that we are facing. So we also said in our manifesto, when it comes to education, we have to look at it holistically, looking at empowering the students, the learners and the students, looking also how we can lead the parents to have special attention to the learners or to their children. Last year, when I was mandated by the political bureau of SWAPO as the vice president to go to all the regions, and then there was always a round table. The first one was in Zambezi, and that was in February. And we had just received the grade 12 results. And we all know the impact of the COVID during that year, the result. So we then discussed the education system in the country. And I was so happy with the experts who were interrogating the whole subject, because they came out and said some of the challenges we are having, they are attributed not necessarily by the government, but all of us. In fact, they even went deeper and says the government's contribution to the poor performance stands at 35%, while the rest is either in the school environment, which is the teaching staff, the learners, and the parents. So that's why we really need to be very holistic in looking at that. And these are the things that we want when we are looking at our manifesto. And then the other topic on the mining and energy, I think it was well elaborated here. As well as when we talk about the green hydrogen and all the opportunities that are available. And again, looking at our manifesto, starting with the theme of our campaign, unity in diversity, natural resources beneficiation. This is exactly targeting our natural resources to make sure that these natural resources that belong to us, we go to the maximum benefit. We know we own the resources, we don't have the capital, and that's why we are saying in our manifesto, we have to create a balance between us who are the owners of these resources and those who are bringing the capital, so that there should be a balanced benefit to ourselves and to those who are bringing their capital. And then on agriculture and job creation is also underlined clearly in our manifesto. And if we have now to bring it to Kharas, where the whole issue we are talking here is unemployment. And it's because of unemployment we are talking about poverty. Because when you create an employment, you are empowering individuals. This afternoon, I was in engagement with some of the residents of Kharas. And they say during the time of the construction of the Netumbo Dam, the economy of Kharas was booming. It was booming because so many people were employed on the construction of the dam. And they had an income, and that income was getting into the Kharas economy, and the business was doing well. Now, we are also now expecting that when this new industry comes up, including the oil and gas, I fully understand that oil and gas is capital intensive. It's very far from here, but it's still in our water, and we will be able to control. And that's why the training comes in, and our people to identify what type of services that will be required in this industry. And this is taking me to where Gino was. For example, can we really allow that these companies, they can be served catering by a company coming from Europe, driving all the way, and bring them food in our water, instead of being served by a company which can take the food 300 kilometers, instead of a company that is bringing food thousands of kilometers, or who is going to do their laundry, and who is going to do really their maintenance, even of some of the small machines. And that's where the training has to come in. And for us, really as a nation, to see how we can help those companies to provide the services that are required by those industries. So this is the multiple supply, multiple effect of job creation that we have to put in. So the Petro Fund money, which is being used now for training, let us really make use it to the maximum. And I'm happy the Minister of Mines and Energy is here, and they have already started this program as we have planned. Safety can never be compromised anyway. And I think all of us should agree on this one. We should not compromise on safety. And I'm so happy to be informed that the institution is now here in Namibia to provide such a safety training. That's very, very encouraging. And then now we come to the agriculture. I talked about it. Agriculture now, finally, I understand. We managed to get some land around the dam. And that is the time we can now start to make use of the water in the dam for the agricultural purpose. And this is what will now again can bring life to the economy of Kharas when we start in full force to utilize the water in the dam using the land which is now available. And the agriculture is not just for food security, it's also for industrialization. Because you can put up, I say we need to really think deeper. And the very production centers and processing centers. You produce where you are producing, but then if you have to process, maybe to make your juice, to make your cereals, has to be done in the country in what we can call as processing centers. So these really are the things that we have put in our manifesto, and we must be ready to implement. The questions that also came up, they are more or less related really, because we are talking about education and the school dropouts. But there was a specific issue where I would want to ask the Minister of Higher Education to assist when there was an issue of the pre-programs that are introduced at UNA, but they are saying they are not paid. I'm asking this because I know we have been deliberating on this issue at the cabinet level. I don't want to put you on the spot, Minister, but I really thought you can just help me to explain on this situation at the end, because I know we have a response to this particular question. My question now, the four of them, the one is about sports, and specifically your particular code whereby you are looking for sponsorship for you to participate. I noted you have given a document which we have to look at without any promising, but I can only tell you that sports and creative industry is having a special chapter in our manifesto. And we did that